It's funny how these types of videos work out for me. I can do a video on anyone I want and I choose the most insignificant people. First it was on Eric Solgaard, who by the way got signed by the Blue Jays. Then it was on Dave, who was on Jeopardy for 4 days. And now there's Aaron Ripkowski. Let's get into this. Now this is probably the video that hits closest to home to me. I liked Aaron Solgaard, but only because he was such an oddity on the Brewers team. Aaron Ripkowski just makes me sad to think about. Now let's start at the beginning. On December 10th, 1992, a 7-pound, 9-ounce baby was born. I don't know if that's actually Aaron Ripkowski because I just made up the weight, but that's not the point. Aaron Randall Ripkowski, the bouncing baby boy that he is born to Randy and Marlo Ripkowski. I was expecting that Randy would probably be a college player or maybe even a pro, but I can't find a thing about him, so I'm imagining that he was just a normal dad. Now let's fast forward to high school where he is 6'1", 245 pounds. He is playing defensive lineman, and as far as I can tell, he did not get a scholarship to go to college. He paid to get into the University of Oklahoma and tried to walk onto the football team, now a fullback. He did not make it his freshman year because of a different fullback named David Driscoll, who was also a freshman. However, after injuries to the Sooners, he made the team for 9 games. Didn't touch the ball once. Driscoll eventually moved to defensive linebacker next year, which gave Aaron Ripkowski the perfect opportunity to walk onto the team again his sophomore season. He did. He was on the team for all 12 games and started 1. Didn't touch the ball the entire year. However, one thing he did do was impress coach Bob Stoops, who decided to give him the Derek Shepard Most Inspirational Walk-On Award, and was given a scholarship for his next 2 seasons as a Sooner. Now it's his junior season, and he is just hyped up to go. He's on the team for all 13 games and starts 7. He still doesn't get any carries, but he finally gets his first yards that season. Now, at the time of recording, I haven't seen the play, but he had 1 catch for 3 yards that was a touchdown. It's most likely that was either a broken pocket dump off, like Tom Brady does 25 times every game, or some trick play. Whatever it was, it's his first college catch and his first 3 yards. Now, I want to make this clear that I'm not trying to make it sound like his college days were a failure. The fullback is the least flashy position in football because they only have 2 jobs. Now, offensive linemen have 1 job, and that is to block. Now, the bad will be recognized and the good will also be recognized. They don't have stats, but there are a surplus amount of them, so everyone understands why they don't have stats. However, with the fullback, they have rushing stats, but no blocking stats. So a fullback could be great at blocking, but like Ripkowski's junior season, he has no stats to show for it. The fullback is a dying breed in the NFL. There are only 10 classified fullbacks in the NFL today, and the stats might have something to do with it. Anyway, in his senior year, however, he had his best season by far. He started 7 out of the 13 games, and he had 6 rushes for 13 yards with 3 rushing touchdowns, and had 7 receptions for 38 yards and a touchdown. So after his senior season, he decides to try to go out for the NFL draft. There's a full website about his draft notes with strengths and weaknesses and a bunch of stuff, and I'll put a link in the description in case you actually care about that, but I'll summarize it here. They say that he'll probably be a 7th rounder or a free agent, but he's an old school blocking back that will have a hit or two that will fire up the crowd and his teammates. However, his lack of a passing catch background will hurt his chances. Now, in 2015, the Packers had their 9-year fullback John Kuhn going to free agency at the end of the year, so they decided to draft a fullback in the 5th round. That was indeed our favorite buddy, Aaron Ripkowski. After training camp, he signs a 4-year contract, and it's looking pretty good. His first year, he's behind Kuhn on the depth charts, so he doesn't start any games and only got an 18-yard catch for 2015. The next year, Kuhn indeed does go to the Saints in free agency, so Ripkowski is the best and only fullback on the team. He goes into 2016, like all Packers fans, optimistic. The number 1 running back we had was Eddie Lacy. Everyone's favorite food-eating running back started for 5 games until he pulled his fat muscle. We had our longtime running back James Starks as our number 2 running back, who had a pretty bad year and then got injured. Our number 3 running back was Christine Michael, who we got midway through the season, who did not know our offense and pretty much sucked. We converted wide receiver Ty Montgomery to running back after our running core just died, and he did decent, but it was a little too late. The whole situation gave Ripkowski the perfect opportunity to shine. And shine he sort of did. Now, he had to wait 5 games before he got a carry. This is not going to be any groundbreaking stats, but he did a lot for the team. Week 5 against the Giants, he gets 2 carries for 17 yards. Week 6 against the Cowboys, he gets a carry for 0 yards and a reception for 2. Week 7 against the Bears, he gets 3 carries for 8 yards and a reception for 8 yards. Now, if you don't know about the 2016 Packers, this was a very up and down season. First 6 games, they went 4-2. That's pretty good, and they had a pretty good chance of making the playoffs. These next couple games is what I like to call the dark age of the 2016 season. Next, we face the Atlanta Falcons. Ripkowski got 6 carries for 34 yards and a reception for -1. We lost by 1 in a very close game. Next, we face the Colts. He gets 2 carries for 4 yards and a reception for 3, and the Packers lose by 5. Next is against the Titans, and I'm not sure if there was an injury or just a weird occurrence, but Ripkowski doesn't get any carries or reception, and the Packers lose by 22. Next game, we face the Redskins, and he's back. He gets 2 carries for 9 yards, no receptions, and the Packers lose by 18. The Packers have just lost 4 games in a row. The Packers are 8-6 with 3 eventual playoff teams left on the schedule. It's not looking good, and Aaron Rodgers says the boldest thing in his career.
I feel like we can run the table. I really do. I think the offense is starting to click a little bit more. We just got to put together a game where we're consistent from the first snap to the last.
So after he says that, we face the Eagles, where Ripkowski gets 3 carries for 1 yard, 2 receptions for 15 yards, and a touchdown. He is first in the NFL. The Packers win by 14. The Packers are now 5-6. Next week against the eventual playoff team Texans, Ripkowski gets 3 carries for 14 yards, a 4-yard reception, and another touchdown, and the Packers win by 8. Now we're 6-6. Now we have the toughest game so far. We're facing the NFC Championship team that we lost to in the playoffs last year, named the Seattle Seahawks. It looks to be a tough game, and we scored. And again, that's another score. Well, look at that. Ripkowski had 2 carries for 3 yards, but that doesn't matter because we won by 28. So the next 2 games are against the Bears and the Vikings, and Ripkowski doesn't get any carries or receptions, but the Packers win by 3-13, and they're going into Week 17. During Week 17, we will face the Detroit Lions, who have been on a 2-game losing streak and are 9-6, while we are also 9-6. Now, the Redskins, who we lost to early in the season, were 8-6-1 going into the final week against the 5-seed Giants. If they were to win, then they would get the 6th playoff spot. That would mean that the loser of the Packers-Lions game would be out of the playoffs. The Redskins thankfully lost 19-10, which gives us a safety net. That means that whomever wins the next game is the division champ and the 4th seed, and the loser is the 6th seed. But back to Ripkowski. He got 9 carries for 61 yards, the best of the season by far. He also got 2 receptions for 15 yards and a touchdown. The Packers won that game by 7 and had successfully run the table, but it wasn't over yet. Now, before the playoffs, here are Ripkowski's regular season stats so far. In 12 games, he has 34 carries for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also has 9 receptions for 46 yards and a touchdown. Now, it's playoff time. We first have to play the 5-seed 11-5 Giants, who had beaten the Redskins in their last game of the season. Ripkowski gets 2 carries for a yard and 2 receptions for 11 yards and a touchdown. In a 25-point pummeling, which featured an uncalled pass interference Hail Mary, we move on to the next round where we face the number 1 seed Cowboys, who we had lost to in Week 6. Ripkowski gets 4 carries for 24 yards in a game that I watched on an airplane. We won with a miraculous throw and catch from Rodgers to Jared Cook, which set up a last-second 51-yard kick by Mason Crosby. We won by 3. Our hopes are high as we head to Atlanta to face the 2-seed Falcons in the NFC Championship game. The Falcons get the ball first and go on a 7-minute touchdown drive. They're up by 7, but that's fine. That's okay. We come back and have a 41-yard field goal, and Crosby misses it. Well, darn, no problem. They get the ball back, and we stop them, and they're forced to kick a field goal. That's great. We're only down by 10, no need to panic. Then our offense wakes up. 17-yard pass to Cobb, 22-yard completion to Cobb, 3-yard run, 3-yard run, 5-yard pass. We're right before the red zone, and we finally give the ball to our best fullback, Aaron Ripkowski. You're seeing this play right now, but I'm going to summarize it anyway. So there's the handoff, and we get about a 5 to 8 yard gain, and then they do the whole thing where there is the whole pile, and it'll go backwards and forward, and he eventually gets 12 yards. Good. We're at the 11-yard line, and the ball's up. Well, we probably recovered it, and no, the Falcons did. Oh no, he was probably down. No need to worry, he wasn't. In every single game that Ripkowski played in college, he never fumbled. In every game so far in the NFL, he has never fumbled. And on the biggest stage he's ever played on, he fumbled. Falcons go back up the field and score a touchdown. They were down by 17, and now the game is completely out of hand. Ripkowski was only used 3 more times, and none of them were anything noteworthy. The Packers were completely annihilated that game. Next year, he gets 5 carries and 7 receptions for the whole year. Now, I don't think that was directly because of the fumble. The Packers' running core got so much better, and after that season, he might have just been used as a blocker, but I do believe that the fumble had a bit to do with it. On September 1st, 2018, he was released by the Packers, and on January 31st, the Kansas City Chiefs picked him up where he has not done much. This does not have a happy ending. Sure, he was on a very good team, but one fumble cost him a spot on the team, and now he's on the Chiefs. One of the worst fates you could have. I really don't have a nice ending to it. He's still on the Chiefs. The Chiefs lost in the AFC Championship game. I don't have anything to tell you. That was the tale of Aaron Ripkowski.